I'd like to invite Dr. Valentina Drozd. Dr. Drozd is the head of International Department of Project Chernobyl. Her presentation is titled Drawing on the Lessons of Chernobyl to Explain the Dramatic Rise in the Incidence of Thyroid Cancer around the world in the past 30 years. Considerations about a combined carcinogenic effect of exposure to radiation and nitrates. Dr. Drozd.
How to make any PowerPoint presentation, how to, okay, start. Dear Chairman, dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank for inviting me for this very important event and giving the possibility to bring for this round table our knowledge which we accumulated during the last 30 years, working together in different international program and project together with our United States colleagues from Project Chernobyl, together with people from NCI, also in framework of Project WHO, IFICA, together with our Japanese colleagues and Germany scientists. We would like to share our knowledge and our experience, and we hope that our knowledge will be helpful and also very important to prevent the so tragic event as the Chernobyl accident. I would like to focus our attention today for a more important issue, which is really a result of radiation exposure. It's radiation-induced thyroid cancer. Now we know that the most serious consequence, medical consequence, Chernobyl accident. But 30 years after the Chernobyl accident, I would like focus not only attention on the radiation exposure. We should consider this problem from the different point of view, and accordingly we should take account our ecological situation. And I would like to discuss together this whole issue. When in Belarus, Belarusian scientists first reported in beginning of 19 our data, our situation in Belarus about the sharp increase in thyroid cancer cases. In the world, in the United States, in Japan, this experience and this data, these first articles were greeted very skeptically, because previous experience have shown that radioiodine it's not so dangerous from the point of view induction thyroid cancer. And when I first, in beginning of 19, I reported in the podium of WHO data about the pediatric thyroid cancer and dramatic increase in the incidence, the discussion was so strong, and my opponents said me that I so young and cannot understand the situation. And only 5 years later, after the first cases of thyroid cancer in children, the people from IAEA, the scientific society, was forced and should admit that it's real situation. In the world, we face the problem radio-induced thyroid cancer after radiation exposure by radioiodine. Now we have very good statistics, and we know that in Belarus the peak of morbidity among the children was in 1992, 1994. After that, the peak of morbidity shifted in the zone of adolescence, and it was in 2000 2001, 2002, and now we can observe in Belarus the growing incidence of thyroid cancer, mostly among the young adults. But I would like attract its. We know that it's related to Chernobyl accident, to radiation exposure, but it's an open question about the hypothyroidism. Now in Belarus, we also observed very high increase in the incidence of hypothyroidism among the children, adolescents, and adults, and 10 times the incidence is higher. But what is the reason of this situation? This question is open for our investigation. I would like to give some facts about the thyroid cancer. Now the thyroid cancer incidence is growing in the world very dramatically, not only in Belarus, in the United States, also in Korea, and it's practically the type of cancer which is growing every year in the United States about 6%. The annual percent change is highest compared with the other type of cancers. Of course, we are this question under very strong discussion in the world, and some authors try to clarify the situation related only good diagnostic modalities and improving diagnostic, but other suggests consider also the other factors as our situation in environmental and exposure and endocrine disruptors. What we know about the reason of thyroid cancer? First of all, we know after Chernobyl accident very well that first reason is the exposure, and particular exposure in the childhood. It's the experience of Chernobyl accident, experience of Fukushima, and also the experience of nuclear weapon testing. Also, a very important role plays medical diagnostic examination with using the radiation methods. Also, very important information for us is recently published by WHO report about the role of endocrine disrupting chemicals. Some chemicals, for example, nitrates and other one, are responsible for the different type of endocrine-related cancers, also obesity, also metabolic disorders. It's this information we should take account to understand much better consequence of Chernobyl accident. In the same time, very important experience of Chernobyl to understand much better the situation in a world with a sharp increase in thyroid cancer cases. I would like to give some information about the experience which we got from the Chernobyl study, and we analyzed the data pediatric thyroid cancer. You can see that the highest rate of pediatric thyroid cancer was in Gomel region, and it about 11, and it's absolutely understandable because the highest dose to thyroid gland was exactly in the Gomel. But in other oblasts, Mogilev and Brest, the mean thyroid dose was practically the same, but the incidence rate was 5 times higher in breast. This discrepancy needs some clarification, and we involved in our analysis data of nitrate in groundwater. I would like to inform you that rural population in Belarus and now are using the open wells, and exactly in breast region, the level of contamination, the groundwater, drinking water, was and now is 5 times higher than in Mogilev, where the doses to thyroid were the same, but the incidence was so different. Also, I would like to give some facts about the situation with nitrate pollution in Belarus. In period between the 1960 and 1990, use of nitrogen fertilizers in Belarus has increased by 20 times from 4 kilo per hectare till 90 kilo per hectare. Average level of nitrate in groundwater has increased from 1 to 41 milligram per liter. By the way, the maximum permitted level contaminating water with nitrate, according to the recommendation WHO, about 40 milligram. It's a very important fact to understand the situation in Belarus. Also, this situation illustrated these 3 maps. You can see that highest dosage to thyroid gland was in the south part and east part of Belarus, but the incidence of thyroid cancer among the children was the highest in the south and west part. And to understand the situation, you can see the last map where the nitrate pollution highest was exactly in the west part of Belarus. It's Brest Oblast, and the contamination water, drinking water with nitrate, about the 184 times higher that maximum permitted level. This data we published recently in +1, and we introduced the hypothesis that risk thyroid cancer related to radiation exposure can be modified by nitrate in drinking water, and the effect of radiation significantly varied according to nitrate concentration in drinking water. The first health effects of nitrate were reported by Comley in 1945 after observing the baby blue syndromes in children in Iowa. What nitrate is doing with the thyroid gland? Stop nitrate, high level of nitrate in the body, in the blood, can prevent the uptake of iodine by thyroid, and can compromise thyroid hormone synthesis. It's very important information. Also, in the situation with very high activity of bacteria, and also in the presence of gamma radiation, low doses of nitrate goes to the nitrosamine, and nitrosamine is a very serious cancerogen. Also, very important information that we should know that nitrate, high level in the body, can lead to high level in the body nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is involved in the numerous process and can metabolic process, and can be involved in the initiation of the numerous cancers. I would like to introduce the data. Last publication this year, it's data demonstrates the meta-analysis of relationship between the dietary nitrate intake and different type of cancers. And this paper demonstrates that nitrate was inversely associated with the gastric cancer risk, but high intake of nitrate may result in the elevated cancer risk, thyroid cancer and glioma. It's very important data. Also, I would like to demonstrate the paper Mary Ward. She is maybe later will give more information about this study, but this study also demonstrates that nitrate intake high nitrate intake can lead for thyroid cancer and other thyroid disease. And also very important publication last year came from France, and scientists showed that thyroid, they investigated the second malignancy, thyroid cancer as a second malignancy after treatment, different type of childhood cancer with radiation. And they showed that patients who received nitrosuria chemotherapy had 6 times higher risk thyroid cancer than those who did not. Japanese scientists also showed that the nitric oxide is responsible for metastatic disease and progression of thyroid cancer. It's a study. And in result, we developed the hypothesis that not only radiation is responsible for development of thyroid cancer. We should every time take in account ecological situation, and the exposure of thyroid gland or salivary gland, because the metabolism of both these organs is very close to each other. Altogether in the low level of antioxidants can lead for genomic instability, and as a result we can get the situation with sharp increase in thyroid cancer cases. What is the lessons of Chernobyl? First of all, Belarusian data, Belarusian study has shown that radiation, exposure of thyroid gland was significantly associated with thyroid cancer incidence. And also we should study other factors. Our study showed that also high level of nitrate concentration in the drinking water also can be the modifier factor, and also can lead to more serious situation with the incidence of thyroid cancer. And having this podium, I would like to ask the people who is responsible for organizing new study, and the representative from UNDP, WHO, that we desperately need new study how to working together radiation and other factors, endocrine disruptors, and nitrites. We should understand more detail about how it is working together and what is the consequence we can have in the real ecological situation. And maybe if we will get more information, more data about this, we can prevent the new cases of thyroid cancer in Belarus and in the other countries. What we are doing, we continue to build new power plant station to increase production of energy. Also, we are increasingly producing nitrite fertilizer to increase our yields. What is the price of our activities? Increase in the incidence of cancer, growth in the number of people with different metabolic disease, obesity, and diabetes mellitus. As a scientist now, we are not ready to say that we should stop to build new power atom station, nuclear station, or stop to produce new nitrate fertilizer. We are talking now that we should more carefully, more strongly take account the all consequences. We need more knowledge to prevent the new accidental situation and to protect our children and new generation from the consequence and new cases of thyroid cancer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Drozd, for sharing your important work and updating us on the research being done in this field.